to the Nightly News. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Sam. On today's program, we will be talking to you about boys and girls athletics, physical education, food at schools, cars, unique talents, and the middle school renovation. First, let's go to Sophia with a report on the difference between boys and girls athletics.
Here at Pullman Regional High School, there are multiple sport athletes all around for boys and girls. Today we are going to be finding out about the difference in coaching strategies in boys and girls sports and how some coaches think boys and girls act and play differently.
I think that girls sports need more support because after games they're more upset if they lose or if they didn't play as well. With boys sports, they're able to move on after the game and not think about their performance too much.
Girls are very interested in the relationships that they have with their teammates, and I think that's a good thing.
Some females might be more sensitive toward self-esteem issues when it comes to that. I see boys don't internalize some of the verbals, whereas some ladies might internalize the verbals and run with it if it's not very well executed. So that's my major difference, just handling individuals one-on-one.
I feel that boys have more commitment. I think that they are more driven if they are working on a specific sport. They try to build their skills in the off season as much as possible more than females. Females worry more about school, so I think that's where the difference is.
I don't think that there's any difference in that level of passion that's gender specific.
I think it could be an inherent difference with social dynamics, but first of all, kids are kids, regardless if you coach boys or girls. They probably all want the same thing. They all want to do their best.
I think that in varsity athletics, boys and girls are both physical. I think it looks more physical when boys play, just because of how they play. I think that at the younger ages, you can see more aggression in the boys, but not as much the girls because they're a little timid. But once you reach high school, I think they both have the same aggression of play.
And athletes need to figure out, if they think coach yells an awful lot, they need to figure out sometimes, is coach yelling at me because they don't like me, or is coach yelling at me because he or she wants me to get better, or thinks I could do that skill better, or thinks that I'm not trying as hard as I should be. So I think communication is always really important with those things.
Thank you, coaches, for your great opinions. Thank you, viewers, for watching our show. I'm Sophie Valley reporting for WPRH.
I never thought there was that big of a difference between boys and girls athletics. Thanks, Sophia.
Now let's look more at physical education with Kyle.
According to coaches and teachers, physical education is very important to the student body.
Of our student body participates in at least one athletic activity for the school. I was pretty impressed with that. I think that's a good number. And I think what's nice about that is when kids are participating on a team, they understand the value of training in order to perform. I'm not sure that everybody understands the connection of taking care of yourself and physically staying active. I had a professor in college, and Dr. Kamholtz used to talk about the mind-body connection a lot, and actually was an advocate for people to stop in the middle of their workday and go work out. And what he said was, we slow down. You know, we're only good listeners for a short amount of time.
Not only do students have a smaller attention span without physical activity, but there are also other advantages.
There's a lot of advantage. I think in school, the stress of the work that needs to be completed, the amount of time you're sitting throughout a day, and what phys ed does, it offers opportunity to get up, get the body moving, that you're feeling good about yourself. I mean, there's just so much research that shows how being active correlates with better scores, study habits, more alertness, more focus, just all overall better well-being.
It increases your well-being, but students aren't very aware of it.
Basically, right now they're not very aware when they come in as freshmen because physical education has been taken down to 1 day a week at all of our elementary schools and middle schools. So if they only see it 1 day a week, if they're lucky, they don't see a connection to it. It's like anything you do 1 day a week. If you did it 1 day a week for 30 minutes, compared to every day for an hour.
There you have it. Physical education is important the student body. I'm Kyle Green reporting for WPRH.
Thanks, Kyle. I enjoyed that report. Another thing I really like is food. Here is Lily with a report on our food program in school.
At PRHS, school lunch is often a topic of conversation, from how much it costs to how much time we have.
I wish it was treated differently, but I think it's more of a cultural issue. Like, I think we rush through lunch. I think we should have more time for lunch. I think we should be able to take the time to think about what goes into the process of creating the food.
I work on the salad bar. Usually it takes me an hour to so. But now that I'm doing the salad bar, I like making lots of salad and fresh fruits, vegetables, make it look pretty.
The process of creating the food, right, and caring for ourselves, and thinking about what we're ingesting, and engaged in raising, having gardens, right, so that we can grow some of our own food. And
Students at PRHS want to know what goes into the food they eat.
It's from Blackies in Auburn, and there's a performance place that brings some of our stuff, and then we have a whole course that brings in a juice in it.
more students and staff involved in, prep work and creating the food that we're eating. And I think that there's a lot of different venues that could tap into that, like roundtable time, science. There could be different opportunities for different groups to kind of make contributions. And that's something that I wish was happening with that.
However, not just faculty have opinions regarding our lunch. Students also have some suggestions about how to make our lunch better.
Raised one, the portion size, and two, the overall quality of the food.
We need to be able to pay for the food, right? And so the food's going to come from somewhere, right? And also there might still be some people that that are they're paying less, right? So it's kind of like being taxed, right? People who have more money are being taxed at higher rates to help fund, so it's like everybody's making a contribution that is hopefully kind of equitable, but we don't always feel that way, but so that those who have less can have, right, and partake.
Favorite meal, probably the turkey dinner that they do around the holidays. I like that with the mashed potatoes and the gravy.
Even though lunch is often a topic to talk about, there will always be differing opinions at PRHS. This is Lily Dagno reporting for WPRH.
Thanks, Lily. That really made me want some food. Next is Oliver with a report on cars.
At PRHS, a variety of teachers and students prefer older model cars and building their own.
In terms of muscle, I've always loved Mustangs, and I think having a classic Ford Mustang would be pretty sweet if I ever had extra money to throw around.
The older muscle cars, and then even like the old Willys Jeeps, they have a certain look about them when they're done nice, like when they're fully restored. I don't know if it's just because I'm not of that generation that they look cool to me, but newer cars seem like they're a dime a dozen. Like everybody has them. You drive down the road and you see a ton of Hondas and a ton of Toyotas and a ton of GMCs and a ton of Fords, but current ones. But when you get to those old like muscle cars or old type of trucks, to me they tell a story, and I wasn't here back when that story was being told or being made, so they're just fascinating to me.
Like most people, you like the older car look, and again, too, going back to that, original question, it seems like cars were made more by hand back in the day, not necessarily so much by machine. So it's like they were built to last, and they've proven that over time. Obviously, with an older car, if you have now, it's been around, and there's a reason why. And so I think there's that. I have that appreciation for history and how they did things, and that classic look is just it's never going to go out of style, and I think there's always going to be a place for that. and there's always going to be jobs for that's going to interest me. I think it's like anything. When you build your own car, you know everything about it. You know exactly what went into it, what's done. You know what was done the way you wanted it to be done. And I think that's important. And so it's when people say homemade cars are better, I don't know if that's necessarily true, but again, it's just when you know your vehicle and you know what it's going to do in certain situations, it gives you that comfort level. Because there's sometimes with some vehicles, you don't know what it can handle because you didn't build it.
I think it's good to modify your vehicles, make it more like customized to what you prefer.
Customizing and building your own cars are based on your personal preference.
Thanks, Oliver. I love classic cars too. Now let's take a look at some weird and crazy talents. Here's Max with a report.
And here at WPRH, talent is inside each and every one of our students.
Used to watch comedians on TV and impressionists on TV. I've never heard anybody in my family do impressions. Elvis Presley at the vending machine. Oh, excuse me, little lady. Went to the vending machine to get a bag of chips or a bag of pretzels. I put my money in and got stuck.
Well, it actually, singing, you get better at singing by practicing, so technically the more that you sing, the better that you get.
And is for the way you look at me. Oh, is for the only one I see.
Probably damages my ankle. Because I've been forcing my ankle to do that for years now, and I probably wasn't supposed to.
Because I think people that will like judge them.
Well, some are camera shy. Some get nervous in front of a camera, or they, they're afraid of being, critiqued or ridiculed or something like that. Some people don't like it, or they maybe not think that it's up to par, if you will. I guess it has to do with how you view yourself, confidence.
It's difficult to put yourself out there. And so, I do raps, but I'm very self-conscious about trying to really sing in chorus. I don't know that I could do that. I'd be very self-conscious. But if I'm making a joke out of it or something, then I'm okay with it. But I think people tend, when you get older, hopefully you start to get comfortable with yourself and you don't really mind taking risks. But that's a lot tougher, I think, when you're younger. People are much more self-conscious, I think.
Talents are hidden inside each and every one of our students here at PRHS. I'm Max, reporting for WPRHS.
Thanks, Max. Wow, Oliver can sure get twisted. Now for a serious story, here is Justin with an update on our middle school renovation project.
In the fall of 2017, the residents of Poland, Minot, and Mechanic Falls will be asked to vote on our middle school expansion project.
It's too small for the population we have right now. When we consolidated back in 2009 and brought the Minot and Mechanic Falls students over here, we basically doubled our population, going from about 130 students per year to roughly 250 to 260 students per year. And the building wasn't big enough for everyone. But the plan was from that point that they put temporary buildings in, and then eventually there'd be a permanent extension put on the building.
It is necessary, in my opinion, because the classes aren't big enough for the amount of kids in there. And the reason we have the problem is because we've brought the Minot and Mechanic Falls kids to this school from the middle school.
What we're going to look to do is we're going to take the current number of classrooms that we have. We're not looking to add more classrooms necessarily, but we have 6 modulars right now. So those 6 would be part of the new extension. And then we would take 3 classrooms that are currently existing, and those classrooms would become our office space. So our extension would have a total of 9 classrooms, as well as some space for janitorial services and some new bathrooms. And the current space that we have, we would do some remodeling as far as where offices go, and the organization of a combined entry for the middle school and high school.
So this shared entry, the middle school students would be on one side, the middle school office on one side, the high school office on the other, and then the middle school and the high school office could see those people, and they can't get anywhere else in the building until they, let those office people know where they're going and what's the purpose and so on.
The purpose of the expansion project will be to give the middle school more space and reduce overcrowding.
The plan is to adjust to the number of students we already have. They did a study. We had some folks who they specialize in population studies. They came in, they looked at all our data, they looked at town data, and over the next 20 years, the middle school is supposed to hold pretty steady at about 250 students per year.
Yeah.
We have a low year this year. We have 230 kids. Next year we're up to 260, but for the most part, we're going to hang around that 250 mark. So this extension is really being created with the plan that our numbers are going to be similar to 250. Could we fit 300 kids in here? Yes, I think we could fit 300 kids in here, but it would be tight, and we'd be talking about 25 kids per class. Hallway, they would be very, very tight to put 25 kids in a classroom down there. That's not the way that building was constructed. But with this extension, there's more space per classroom. And if we had to go that route, if we had a couple of years where we had bigger populations, I don't think we'd have a problem putting 25 kids in a class in these new classrooms that are going to be constructed.
Overcrowding is one thing to keep in mind as this process goes out to vote.
They wouldn't actually start building right away. What we're doing now is working on the referendum that will go out in November. It won't be 3 years. The whole distance, I think, is what we have for plan now is the 3 years. That goes from hiring an architect, preparing for the referendum, and then going out to bid.
Well, we're working with an architect, and this is the plan that we've organized. There's a building committee, and that team is the team that's decided on the current plan.
It'll be a phased project. We haven't got into how, we've got to get it passed first, and then we'll make a phase in that we'll go so much as we can during the summer, and then at some point those modulars will have to be moved. The one up the front will stay out there until the project's completely done, but the 4 classrooms that are out back of the middle school have to go away because those will be in the construction zone, if you will. I think the phasing thing is going to be worked out through the architect, so that's coming a little later on.
The phasing of the project and the complications that arise will be countered with adjustments to adhere for student learning.
There'd actually be an extended lobby area where Mr. Knott's room is right now. They would open that up, and it would be kind of a lobby area for students when they came into the building. What I hope would be that we could move the lockers out of this main hallway, because that's a real issue. Whenever you talk to kids about why do we need an extension, I guarantee the first thing they're going to come up with is lockers, hallway, not enough space, I get bumped into. So I think we need the lockers, I think we need a place for kids to put their stuff, but it certainly makes this hallway too narrow for the population we have right now. And then, there'd be 4 science labs, which would kind of be the first part of the new area that you'd walk into in the extension. And that's actually one of the most exciting parts for me. Is currently we have 4 science classes that are 4 science teachers. 2 of them are working in labs, and then 2 of them are not. And it definitely makes a difference in what they're able to offer their students on a daily basis. So having 4 science labs, I think, would be terrific, and it would give us some more flexible space for providing education that allows kids to put their hands on learning, and so that's really exciting to me. I think that the construction is certainly going to create a number of challenges, but as the architect said to us, they've done a lot of projects like this. This is not the first time that they've worked with a school that was in session, and they're going to have some recommendations for us. So our team, between the architect, John Hawley, Tony Bennett, and the staff here, I think we all know we're going to just have to be patient and do everything we can to make it work until the extension is done and ready for us to move into.
work. But as far as teachers, I think by and large, they plan to just keep the ones we have and not expand the, the teacher, the amount of teachers in the middle school.
So in the fall of 2017, the middle school expansion project will be up for vote. I'm Justin Berger reporting from WPRH.
That's it for our show. I hope you all have enjoyed our student reports. I'm Sam.
And I'm Kyle. Have a great day.